Help me reach 1,000 subscribes. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read every comment. Thanks. I never expected a simple question to land like a loaded gun. We were standing in my mother's kitchen, the same narrow space where we grew up stealing cookies and arguing over cereal. The house smelled like coffee and lemon cleaner. My brother Daniel leaned against the counter, arms crossed, watching me too closely. "Where's your wife?" he asked, casual on the surface. I didn't hesitate. "Business trip," I said. The words came out smooth, practiced, too practiced. Daniel didn't nod. He didn't joke. He just looked me straight in the eye, and something shifted. "My name is Andrew Collins. I'm 39, married for 11 years. Or at least, that's what people think. On paper, everything still looks intact. Same house, same joint accounts, same holiday photos on the wall. Emily and I were always the stable ones. That's what my family said. Daniel went through 2 messy breakups. My cousins bounced from relationship to relationship, and Emily and I were the calm center. Reliable, predictable, boring, maybe, but solid until we weren't. Emily used to be the kind of person who filled rooms without trying. She laughed with her whole body, leaned in when you talked, remembered details most people forgot. I liked that she chose me, the quieter one. I worked finance, long hours, spreadsheets, and deadlines. She worked in marketing, all energy and ideas. We balanced each other. At least, that's how it felt in the beginning. We built routines. Morning coffee together. Text during lunch. Dinners that weren't fancy, but were ours. Love didn't explode. It settled. Then it thinned. Slowly enough that I didn't notice at first. Conversations turned functional. "Did you pay the bill? What time is your call?" She started traveling more for work. Conferences, client meetings, last-minute flights. I told myself it was normal. We were successful adults. This is what ambition looks like. When she came home, she was tired, distracted, already half gone. I picked up the slack. I always did. That's what you do when you love someone. You compensate. You wait. The first lie I told out loud was to my mother. "Emily's slammed this month," I said when she asked why Emily missed Sunday dinner. The second was to Daniel. "She's got a big campaign," I told him when he joked that he barely saw my wife anymore. Each lie made the next one easier. Business trip. Tight deadline. Red-eye flight. I wasn't protecting Emily. I was protecting the version of my life I didn't want to admit was cracking. Standing in that kitchen, Daniel's stare felt heavier than the question itself. He knew something. He'd always been good at reading people, even when he pretended not to care. "How long's the trip?" he asked. "A week," I said. Another smooth answer. Another lie stacked neatly on top of the others. He nodded slowly, like he was filing the information away, then said, "That's funny." My stomach tightened. "What is?" I asked. He shrugged. "I thought I saw her in town yesterday." The room seemed to tilt. I felt heat crawl up my neck, but I kept my face still. "Must have been someone else." I said. Daniel didn't argue. He just studied me, the way doctors look at scans before delivering bad news. "Maybe," he said. Or, "Maybe you're not telling me something." Before I could respond, our mother called us into the living room, breaking the moment. Daniel pushed off the counter and walked away. But the damage was done. The lie was no longer just mine. That night, back at the house, the silence was unbearable. Emily's side of the closet was still full. Her toothbrush sat in its holder like it belonged there. I poured a drink and sat at the kitchen table, replaying Daniel's words. I hadn't planned on lying forever. I just needed time. Time to figure out what to say. Time to understand when exactly my marriage slipped into something I no longer recognized. My phone buzzed. A message from Emily. "We need to talk. Tomorrow." No emojis. No softness. Just that. I stared at the screen, knowing the story I'd been telling everyone was about to collide with the truth. I wondered if Daniel already knew more than he was letting on, if he'd seen something I'd refused to face. The thought that my explanations were unraveling made my chest ache. I finished the drink, listening to the house settle. aware that by morning, everything I'd been hiding might surface now. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Daniel's face, that quiet, knowing look he'd given me in the kitchen. By morning, the house felt smaller, like the walls were inching inward. Emily's message sat unread on my phone, though I already knew every word by heart. We need to talk. Tomorrow had arrived, whether I was ready or not. I showered, dressed for work out of habit, then sat on the edge of the bed, waiting for a knock that didn't come. Emily showed up just after noon. I heard her car before I saw her, tires crunching on the gravel drive. She didn't use her key. She rang the doorbell like a guest. That detail hurt more than it should have. When I opened the door, she looked the same and completely different all at once. Same coat, same careful makeup, but her eyes were guarded, distant. She stepped inside without touching me. "We shouldn't drag this out," she said, straight to the point. That was new. We sat across from each other at the kitchen table, the same place we used to plan vacations and argue over paint colors. "Daniel asked about you." I said, not sure why I led with that. She flinched just slightly. "I figured he might," she replied. My chest tightened. "You were in town," I said. It wasn't a question. She didn't deny it. She folded her hands, stared at the table, then finally looked up. "I wasn't on a business trip, Andrew." "Not really." The words settled between us, heavy and final. "How long?" I asked. She exhaled slowly. "Long enough," she said. Not a number, not a date, just enough to tell me everything I needed to know. She talked then about feeling invisible, about growing apart, about meeting someone who made her feel seen again. She didn't cry. She didn't raise her voice. She spoke like she'd rehearsed this speech 100 times. I listened, numb, realizing how much of this I'd sensed, but refused a name. When she finished, there was a long pause. I thought about the lies I'd told, the excuses I'd made, the version of us I'd been clinging to. So why keep pretending? I asked, "Why let me lie for you?" Her jaw tightened. "Because it was easier," she said, "and because I didn't want to be the villain." That stung, not the betrayal itself, but the way she framed it, like discomfort justified deception. "I told my family you were on a business trip." I said quietly, "Daniel doesn't believe me." She looked away. "He never liked me much," she muttered. I almost laughed. Daniel had liked her fine. He just didn't like dishonesty. "He saw you," I said. That got her attention. Her eyes snapped back to mine. "Where?" she asked. "In town," I said. "And now he's looking at me like I'm an idiot." She closed her eyes, rubbed her temples. "I'm sorry," she said finally. It sounded sincere, but late. "What happens now?" I asked. The question surprised me with how calm it sounded. She hesitated. "I think we should separate," she said. "Cleanly. No drama. Cleanly. Like erasing 11 years was a matter of organization." I nodded. Not because I agreed, but because there was nothing left to argue. The marriage I'd been defending no longer existed. It had ended quietly, somewhere between missed dinners and unreturned touches. She stood, slung her bag over her shoulder. "I'll stay with a friend for now," she said. "We can talk logistics later." Logistics. Another neat word for a messy ending. At the door, she paused. "I never meant to hurt you," she said. I believed she believed that. But intention doesn't change impact. "I know," I replied. And I did. She left without another word. That evening, Daniel came by. He didn't ask questions. He didn't say, "I told you so." He just sat with me on the back steps, passing a beer between us. After a while, he said, "You don't have to lie anymore." The relief in that sentence hit me harder than the truth itself. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt something loosen in my chest. The story was over. Not the way I'd imagined, but honestly, finally over.